Hey folks, I've been seeing that we've been checking in with crews, keeping tabs on them, and think that's great. Just so that we could all be on the same page and we can understand what is a check-in and what we should be looking for. I reached out to Dr. Metz and had a little conversation which I recorded. It starts a little abruptly, but the topic right at hand is the first question that she finds preferable to her, which is where's your head at? Anyway, it goes on from there. It's about 7 minutes long and be handy to listen to it. She goes over a lot of the good questions and why, and then follow up questions, and then um, what officers could do with their crews as well. So, hope it's informative. Let me know. There'll be more to follow. Enjoy.
At. And people can come up with their own version of that, but where your head's at gets them to actually evaluate where they're at on the continuum. And I love how you've always talked about it. Mental health is a continuum. So what we're asking for is, where are you at on that continuum? Do you feel like this call had very little impact on you? Did it have a lot of impact on you? But I'm fine doesn't help us understand where you're at on the continuum.
Right. I guess what I think of is like, have you even considered whether it had any impact on you?
Correct. Right.
Yeah.
And not every call has to. They may say, that call didn't impact me much. And I always then ask the follow-up of, okay, why? What? And that's not a judgment question. It's simply be able to articulate, if you're doing fine, why? What's working for you? Is it because you got in a good workout? Is it because you called your kids and said, yes, I thought about my own kids and I just needed to call home and that helped me? Is it that your faith got you through it? What is it that's working, so that you're constantly evaluating the skills that work?
Right.
And so then you can use those if ever you're not fine.
Yeah, and then understand that you're actually using skills as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. In the river of life.
Articulate that it's not that you're not fine. It's just you are delaying your ability to access those skills down the road if you need them. So okay. Our job as peer support and clinicians is to walk them through that story. Where are you at on the continuum? Why are you at that point? What's going to work to either keep you in that good place or move you back in that direction? What other stressors do you have going on currently? What are you doing for those? It's a conversation.
Right.
It's not just a check-in question. Hey, how are you? View it as a conversation. If you don't leave that conversation feeling like you learned anything about that person, that it wasn't done well.
Okay. So, I mean, that's helpful when a peer support person is talking to advisors, talking to another individual. But how do you see that going, when one of us calls an officer? Because that's generally what's going to happen. It's going to be an engine and a medic crew. Most of them are some variety of medical call. Obviously, there's other things, MBAs, but as a peer support advisor that calls up an officer, because that's our program, and check on the crew. So
it's just the officer saying, yeah, my crew's fine, no need?
Yeah.
Okay.
So one is the peer support person asking the officer how they are, but then also the crew. So I guess it would be helpful to have a way for the crib sheet for the officers so that they can kind of have a conversation with their guys.
Okay. Some of that is just asking the open-ended questions for the officers and say, okay, you're saying they're doing fine. What do you look for to identify if they're not fine?
Mm-hmm.
And just being able to ask them, how would you know if they were fine or not fine? And again, it's not a judgment question. It's not intended to be confrontational. It's just, I'm glad to hear they're doing okay. What would be a checklist that would tell you that they do need us to come in?
And I guess, or the other side, like you said, is, they're okay. Do you know why they're okay?
Right. So what are they doing to process on their own? If he's like, yeah, they're doing good. They're sitting at the table right now and they're all talking about it, and we've asked the dog to come in or whatever it is. Okay, then I believe you. Mm-hmm. But if you can't articulate why, either individually or for your crew, then there might be well, do you mind if we come in to do that evaluation and just follow up?
Mm-hmm.
If they can articulate it, great. If they can't, then it might be pushing slightly to say, would you mind if we come in just to double check?
Right.
But kind of also reminding them, what are some of the things that you just would look for, if your guys start to isolate more than is normal for them, if they seem quieter, you know, just make sure that you check on them if you're seeing some of those cues that they might not be doing okay. Do you know if this type of call is one? Have you guys run a lot of this type of call lately? If this is a suicide, for example, okay, asking the officer, how many suicides have you guys run lately? Was there anything about this that was different? Was this a pediatrics? Was this something that might have a different layer of trauma to it? Are any of your folks dealing with kind of outside stressors that might have been triggered by this? Asking some of those follow-up questions to evaluate, might this lead to more of a response?
Yeah, that's all great. So I think this will be a helpful format. And then also like the sleep thing, right? Which is,
Yep.
I'm out there at 40s, I'm getting all kinds of sleep. So, but I know the boys at 12s aren't. So that actually has a big role into it.
Yeah.
So.
And again, asking them, what's sleeping like for your crew lately? How many calls have you been running? Do you feel like they're getting vaguely close to the numbers we would want for sleep, quality of sleep? So just asking some of those questions instead of just saying, how's everyone doing? That again doesn't give you much information.
Right. So yeah, so to summarize, how's you doing as a force of habit and social construct, and don't kill yourself if you start with that, but follow up more of why are you fine or why are you not fine, and be able to articulate that and the things that you, that officer, when you're checking in, that they actually do to stay fine, and how they define fine as well. Right. And then asking the officers to do that exercise, which each one of their people that were on the call.
Yeah, I think a lot of it just comes down to paint the picture. If you're saying you're fine, and I always tell people that, whether you're talking about individually or for your queue, I'll believe you, but paint the picture of what that looks like. I'm not sitting with your crew, so paint the picture of why you think they're fine. Be able to articulate, again, what would it look like if they weren't fine? What would we do about it if you didn't think they were fine? What resources would you access? Paint the picture. Full picture. Yeah.
Okay. Sweet.